All right, so first scene, we're in a room. There's a bunch of eggs in there, and then one of the eggs starts cracking, and it's a raptor or some shit, and then it's like Jurassic World. Then we cut to like some snowy landscape, and you see this like big like boom dinosaur foot go down, and then you zoom out and we're like, haha, just kidding, it's a bird. It's a tiny bird, because birds are what evolved from dinosaurs. Get it? Do you guys get it? And then we zoom out a bit more, and there's some family, and they're all going on a trip or something. And then they go to the airport, and the parents are like, all right, go have fun with your aunt, because we're not going with you. Tell your aunt we said hi. So then we see the kids on a boat, they're going to the island, and it's like, welcome to Isla Nublar. So then they get on this monorail thing, and pretty much the whole movie turns into a commercial for Jurassic World, and it cuts all the way to showing Claire, who's those kids' aunt, being like, welcome to Jurassic World, which is really weird, because she's looking right at the camera, and I get it's supposed to be like, oh, she's pitching it to Verizon, because they're gonna sponsor something. So Claire's touring Verizon around, and she's like, people are bored of dinosaurs, and if you look around, everyone's not. Everyone's like, wow, I love this dinosaur. Look at that dinosaur. These are all great dinosaurs. So then you cut to the control room where Claire's like, hey, we just got some new sponsorship. And Nick from New Girl is like, oh, are you kidding? Product placement? That's ridiculous. And then she's like, yeah, right. And then she like drinks her Starbucks. And he drinks his like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or some shit. It's just an odd joke because they're trying to like hang a lantern and being like, haha, it's silly that there's so much sponsorship. But this movie is also sponsored a lot. So then the CEO guy comes in and he just shows up in a helicopter, and then he's like, where are we going? And she's like, I'm gonna show you the new dinosaur. It's called Indominus Rex. And then the CEO guy is like, did you run this by Chris Pratt yet? And she's like, why would we run it by Chris Pratt? And he's like, well, you know, he's a raptor guy, so you should talk to him about this thing too. So then he cuts to Chris Pratt and he's like, I love raptors, I'm training raptors. And Vincent D'Onofrio's there and he's like, hey, you know what we should do? We should use these things like soldiers. And Chris Pratt's like, that doesn't make any sense. You don't use wolves or like bears as soldiers. And Vincent D'Onofrio was like, yeah, but these are raptors. And then suddenly we're like, oh, there's a pig loose in the raptor cage. This dumbass goes, I'm gonna go get it, and then he falls in. Then Chris Pratt jumps in and saves him, and he like says the names of the raptors a few times so that you remember them later. And he's like, Blue, don't do it. Delta, I see you there, Charlie, get back there. And then he saves him, and we're all supposed to be like, yeah, Chris Pratt, he loves raptors. So cut to these two kids, they're running around Main Street and they get a call from their mom, and their mom's like, hey guys, you having fun? And they're like, yeah, but Aunt Claire ditched us. And she's like, give me a minute, I'm gonna call her. So then she calls her and she's like, hey Claire, it's your sister, Judy Greer. You're supposed to be with my kids because I'm getting divorced this weekend. And Claire's like, you didn't tell me you're getting divorced this weekend. And she was like, oh yeah, I'm getting divorced this weekend. Don't tell the kids. So he got back to the kids, they're at this water exhibit, and there's a watersaurus. For some reason, the splash zone is like the first two rows. It's supposed to be like a SeaWorld joke, but this thing is so big, it just splashes everyone. So then Claire and Chris Pratt go to the Indominus Rex cage, and then they start looking around in the cage, and they're like, where's the dinosaur? Well, I don't know. You know that really scary dinosaur you described earlier? We're gonna go into its cage and look for it. And Chris Pratt and some other guys go into the cage, and then Dom the dinosaur is like, oh, I'm actually here, surprise! And then he eats two of them. Cut to control room, Claire walks in, she's like, some people just died. This really big, scary dinosaur just got out of its cage, but I don't think we should be afraid. We're fine. Don't worry about it. We gotta capture Dom. You can't let that dinosaur die because he's worth lots of monies. So then the SWAT team gets out, and all they have is like nets and some like shotguns, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna capture this giant dinosaur with nets. And obviously they all die. Back in control room, everyone's panicking. Chris Pratt's like, we need to leave the park. Shut the park down. And Claire and everyone else is like, but money. So then you cut to the kids again, and they get in this weird like ball park ride, like a ball car. And these kids can just go wherever they want. Like they're not on tracks or anything. So then we cut back to the labs, and the CEO guy is like, what'd you put in this dinosaur? BD Wong is like, we put some tree frogs in, we put some cuttlefish in there, you know, maybe some raptor DNA? And the CEO is like, dude, BD Wong, what the fuck? And BD Wong was like, dude, you didn't ask for realistic dinosaurs. Like raptors aren't supposed to be 6 feet tall. They're supposed to look like chickens, but dangerous. So these kids are still lost in the park. They're just floating around in a ball. So then Claire's like, we got to get these kids back because I've been a pretty bad legal guardian for this weekend, so I'm just gonna go see if Chris Pratt has some time to help. So these kids are just hanging out in the ball in the dangerous dinosaur area. So then Dom shows up, and it's this weird part where he's like playing soccer with the kids because they're still in like a ball car. They're like a soccer ball. So then he like pops a soccer ball. The kids run out. It turns into this weird chase scene for a little while, and then the kids jump off a waterfall. So then we cut to the control room, and Vincent D'Onofrio is like, guys, can we use the Raptors yet? And the CEO's like, no, I got a better idea. I'm gonna fly a helicopter with a machine gun on it, and we're gonna shoot Dom, and we're gonna kill him. And like literally no one says, but sir, you're the CEO of a international company. You're worth billions of dollars. You shouldn't do this. Not a single person stops this guy from going to his inevitable death. So then cut back to the kids. They fix a car. They leave. Chris Pratt and Claire show up. Then Dom shows up, and he's like, I'm here. Where's the kids? And then he sees a helicopter overhead, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go chase that instead. So then the helicopter obviously gets immediately destroyed. Then Dom's like, hey, Dino Birds, why don't you guys all go to Main Street? And then these Dino Birds are like, yeah, Main Street, let's do it. So then we cut to Main Street, and all these Dino Birds are just attacking, and one guy's like, no, my margaritas. Then Claire and Chris Pratt show up, and then they're like, oh, hey, kids, we found you. Awesome. This is Chris Pratt. And the kids are like, yeah, we know that guy. He was on Parks and Rec. He's really funny. Let's hang out with him. So then we cut back to the control room, and Vincent D'Onofrio is like, is it Raptor time? And someone's like, yeah, it's Raptor time. And he's like, good, Raptor time. And then they do like a Raptor dance, and then like the Raptors pop out, and then Chris Pratt's like, no, this is a terrible idea. And then Vincent D'Onofrio is like, yeah, we're gonna do it anyways, with or without you. Chris Pratt's like, okay, I'm in. So then they're like, deploy the Raptors, and they deploy the Raptors, and then the Raptors are like, I think we smell Dom, guys, this way. And then they keep running, and then Dom shows up, and he's like, rah, rah, rah. And then in what should have been the most obvious thing ever, the Raptors turn on the good guys and start eating all of them. And Chris Pratt survives, obviously. And then he pops up next to Claire and the kids, and then they're all like, let's go to the lab by Main Street. And Vincent D'Onofrio's there, and he's like, we're stealing some of the embryos so that we can make a sequel. And then they go outside on Main Street, and all the Raptors are there, and Chris Pratt's like, guys, I'm your old alpha. And the dinosaurs are, yeah, let's turn on Dom, because Dom's a dick. And then Dom shows up, he's like, guys, what are you doing? Don't turn on me. And then they fight him. And then one of the kids is like, I think we need T-Rex. And Claire's like, yeah, good call. I'll go get him. So then she goes and finds T-Rex and is like, hey, T-Rex, you want to help us out? And T-Rex is old, right? And is like, yeah, I'll go help you. Sure, why not? So then they play this weird like hero music, like dun 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 dun, T-Rex is here to save the day, even though T-Rex has always just been a bad guy. But whatever. T-Rex and Dom start fighting, and then Blue, one of the Raptors, shows up, and they play some more weird hero music. They're like dun 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 dun, Blue's here to save the day. And then Blue and T-Rex just sort of fist bump, and they're like, let's get him. Then the water Saurus shows up and is like, I got this, guys. And then immediately just kills Dom, like pulls him into the water. Dom's dead. That's it. So then everyone in the park is safe, I guess. They're all on boats. They all get away. Cut to the next morning. These kids' parents are there, and they're holding hands, and I guess they're not divorced. I don't know. It's pretty confusing. So then Claire's like, hey, Chris Pratt, should we date? And he's like, yeah, we should date. And boom. Then you cut back to the island. T-Rex is there and is like, rawr, it's my island again. Roll credits.